Good morning, and I hope we all had a great night. Today we are looking at collaboration and communication skills once again, and this time around we're talking about the highly employable skills for modern jobs. So we're talking about how do you stand out, okay? How do you stand out in the work environment? So where we're talking about this is because in the freelancing space, it's all about competition, okay? You do something, there is someone who does it better, or there is someone who thinks they do it better. If a client is coming to you for work, they are not only asking you. So you do not just sit back and be rest assured that, oh, this client has contacted me, so this is an assured job. No, it's not. They're consulting you, they're consulting several others. Okay. So how are you conducting yourself in that space? How are you securing that 1 gig that you're getting from that client as a freelancer? That's why we're doing all this, from email writing to everything that we've been sharing this week. It's all important equally. So that is why we go through this. So under highly employable skills for modern jobs, we're looking at how do you stand out? Okay, how do you stand out? It's in reference to modern jobs because it's in work environments. Most of us are in different work environments. Most of us will be. When you're employed, how do you stand out? It still applies, just like it does apply in any other modern work environment. It does apply to you as a freelancer. How do you stand out? There's people who I know are really good at what they do. They are probably 3 times better than me, but I always beat them to this because why? They do not exhibit certain levels of etiquette or work ethics or behavior. So today we're looking at what skills help you stand out, okay, to a competitor in a work environment. What skills help you stand out? Before we start, I'd like to hear from you. If anybody can share what's that one thing that can help you stand out in what you do in your work environment, in your niche. Let's say it's as a freelancer on the platform. There's like 4 people that do web development. What is that? What are the skills that help you stand out? Let's say it's at work, okay? It's in your work environment, they're considering who deserves a promotion in the next year. What skills help you stand out? Okay, we can share before we go through all this. It is basic. It is not. I'm very sure most of us have heard of this. Alex says timelines and delivery. Yes, timelines on delivery. That is doing your tasks in time. Consistency. Janet says consistency in quality. Eddie says flexibility. Yes. So far, so good. Any other skills? The way you speak. Yes. Then it says the way you speak, and that's communication. That helps you stand out. How you market yourself. Daniel says how you market yourself, and that is branding. And good communication skills. Again, Eddie says good communication skills. So all these are important, and like you notice, most of them are in our course outline. Honesty. Enoch says honesty is very important. Yes. When they say honesty, I don't know how many of us have done businesses online or have tried to sell something online. Not even just online. It is generally even in a shop. You know, I attended a Uganda Japanese webinar where they were saying in Uganda, it's hard to sell and it is hard to buy. Why? Because you walk into a shop and then you have to renegotiate the prices. You know, the shop attendant is telling you this price and the customer is saying, no, that's high, so can we push it down? Except for supermarkets. So he said the business community is in Uganda is lacking the aspect of honesty. In Japan, in his entire, and he'd been in Uganda for a couple of years, but he said in about 35 years, he had never in his life heard of the bargaining. Okay, he had never walked into a shop just to push the prices down. So he said it is because here we have no honesty. The shop person is trying to cheat you, so you have to bring him down to the real price, and it does always work. So honesty is very important, yes, in the business environment and work as well. So thank you so much for sharing. Eddie says problem solving. Yes. Thank you for sharing. So we're going to jump into this. Today is going to not take so long because this is basic. Starting next week, we are starting the most technical aspects, the actual work that you're going to do on the platform, the actual work that the clients are going to ask you to do. So from next week, please endeavor to keep time, endeavor to attend all sessions, because after one, then the other, then the other. If you miss one, you will not understand the next one. If you miss the other, then the next session will be a bit difficult for you to understand or catch up with. Yeah. So from next week, we're wrapping up with the basics, and we shall see that some of what we have been going through is really important. Today's course or session is just going to help us understand the skills that are highly valued by employers. And for that, anyone who gives you a job on any platform, or anyone who, even if it's your friend, and they're giving you, they know you do this, they know you do graphics design, they're giving you whatever it is that you do, is it data analysis, they're giving you a gig in that, they are your client, they are your employer in that particular moment. Okay, so when I say certain skills are highly valued by employers, I mean anyone that you're working for, anyone you're doing work for. This presentation will cover the key skills that can be they can enhance employability and career growth. So the important skills are the ones that we're going to go through. We're going to look at them briefly by description and why they're important and examples. So the first skill that we're talking about is adaptability and flexibility. Like they've mentioned in the comments, this is one of the core skills that helps you stand out. Okay, are you adaptable? Are you flexible? A client sometimes tells you to do something, yeah, gives you work, gives you details, and then you are halfway or almost done, or sometimes done, and then they just tell you, you know what, I need these changes. Please, can you help me change this and this and this? It is daunting most times, okay, especially when you're completely done with the project that have assigned you. But professionally, you're not supposed to throw tantrum at them or show them that you're really angry with that decision to make changes. You are expected to be flexible. Okay, so like as it says, the ability to adapt to new situations, challenges, and changes in the workspace or workplace. So like again, the client is giving you work, they've given you instructions, they've given you all these tasks to do, and they've laid them out well for you, and then all of them a sudden they have a change in mind. Okay, they do have reasons for change in mind. Sometimes it's coming from their superiors if it is an individual, and it's because maybe what they expected is not what they've got. So why it's important, employers value employees who can handle unexpected changes and take on new roles or tasks as needed. Okay, so it's important. If your client usually comes to you, where it says employers value employees, your employer as a freelancer is anyone who contacts you for that gig. If you're contacted for that particular job, and the employee is you, the person who's handling that task. Okay, so wherever it says employers and employees, I'm not typically talking about work environments where you're seated in an office and you have a superior above you and team that you work with, but it also does apply to freelancers, and that's why it's important here. So being open in learning new technologies, adjusting to new team structures, or taking on different job responsibilities. Sometimes you are assigned a particular task, and all of a sudden the superior is asking you to do something way out of your role, job description. You'll not stand up to them and tell them, oh, I will not do this. It is not in my job description. I did not see it as I was applying for this job. That is a major minus for you. Okay, in that work environment, yeah, if they will ever consider to restructure and cut down on staff, you're probably going to be number one, because yeah, you are not so reliable. Yeah. So communication skills. Yes, Eddie mentioned communication skills, Dennis mentioned communication skills. So yes, the second skill that we're looking at is communication skills. So communication is not just speaking. Okay, it's not just speaking. It is also the ability to listen and execute exactly what they've told you, or execute the instructions that they've told you. So there is verbal communication, the ability to express ideas clearly and effectively in spoken words. Written communication, the ability to convey information clearly and professionally in written form. And listening skills, the ability to actively listen and understand others' perspectives. So communication skills, not just speaking, like you talk to someone and they talk back to you. If if you've been given instructions, if you've been told to do things a certain way, and you feel like, oh no, this is how I feel like it should be. If you're a graphic designer and your client tells you, I want the background to be or the theme is green, and then you're like, okay, green will look good with purple, so you add purple for them. You are not communicating. You are not listening. You are not listening at all. Your ears are closed. Okay, so it's very easy. It's very important and easy actually to listen, comprehend, and execute. Okay, the end line of communication at the end of it is execution. If you do not execute, you are not communicating. Okay, you are hearing. Okay, you just heard them. At the end, the hierarchy of communication is execution. You listen to what the demands are, and you comprehend it, and you execute. You do exactly as they have told you to their satisfaction. That is what communication is. So there is verbal communication, there is written communication, and there is listening skills. And then why it's important, the effective communication is critical for collaboration, problem solving, and building relationships in the workspace. Teamwork and collaboration. So again, as freelancers, we're going to need each other. Okay, you're a web developer, but you need the graphic designer, right? Because this one maybe layout or this one picture that you want to be in the background, or the client has asked you to task you to do a little changes, but you cannot do it on your own. You need the work of you actually do need the graphic designer to help you. You are going to need to work with them. You're going to have to get on the platform, okay, and identify a graphics designer and work with them, okay, and that is teamwork. So that is in relation to freelancing. Personally, I know coming up with the UIs, that is user interfaces for applications, mobile application, web applications, you do need an extra hand, okay? Because my work is more functional than appealing. So I always need people to help me design. They help me design, I execute, and at the end of the day, we have very beautiful work. And my clients think, I am really good in design as well. And what now my eyes are really good. So I am really good. I choose, but I have a team that I work with. I have designers and all that. So teamwork is very important. That is why we are looking at it in relation to that. Yeah. So the ability to work effectively with others towards a common goal. Why it's important? Most modern jobs require working in teams, making collaboration skills essential for productivity and success. Examples are participating in team projects, contributing to group discussions, and supporting colleagues. So someone needs help, you stand up to help them in time, effectively, always. That is where teamwork is important. Problem solving. Someone did say problem. Let me just look who say problem solving. Yes, Eddie said problem solving, and that is a key skill. How do you handle situations? How do you identify them? How do you troubleshoot? The ability to identify problems, analyze them, and find effective solutions to them. For example, you are I am giving examples in relation to freelancing because it's where we're headed, and it's from personal experience. When I encounter this, that's why the examples I'm giving are in relation to freelancing, but all these apply to modern work environments as well. So the ability to identify problems, analyze them, and find effective solutions. For example, as I'm speaking now, the internet goes off. Okay, I use the wireless Wi-Fi that the cable, but when power goes off, that internet goes off. So I am left stranded. Do I panic? Do I have to calm down and identify what the problem is, analyze it, and solve it? Okay, so that is the skill that I'm talking about. When you're working, you're going to have this. You're working and your laptop shuts down, just breaks down. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell the client that now my laptop died. I cannot do your work. Can you really do that? You cannot. You have to calm down, find a solution to that. and that is problem solving. It's important. Employers value employees who can think critically and solve issues efficiently, contributing to the organization's success. Troubleshooting technical issues. Technical issues are exactly the ones that I've been talking about. Okay, your gadget gets a problem, your tools have an issue. How are you going to solve that? Okay, technical issues, improving processes, and resolving conflicts. Digital literacy. What Cedric taught last night. Let me look up the topic. I think he did talk about cloud collaboration platforms uh, uh, and remote work tools. I did talk about writing professional emails, and before that, we're talking about project management tools like Trello, Monday.com. I think Cedric did teach that. Google Workspace, using Google Documents, Sheets, Microsoft. He did. We've been talking about all this right before we dig into the technical aspects of freelancing, because digital literacy is also very important. The ability to use digital tools and technologies efficiently. So some of these topics seemed light, but now, like last night, the topics that we discussed, we are going to actually have to apply them. And you're going to have to, some people who did not, we shall know who did not attend. Because when I tell you to send me a file that is probably 2 GB, what 2 GB of storage, it's that large, and you ask me, how do I do that? I will just straight away know that the initial topics were not that important. Okay, so every single one of these topics is really important. That's why we've been going through them. So when we look at digital literacy, why it's important, as workspaces become more technology driven, digital literacy is crucial for performing daily tasks and staying competitive. A client will tell you, you know what, let's do this in a Google Sheet. Okay, show me the sections of the project that you have finished by, just bring up a document, start up a document, a Google Sheet, and share which topics you have finished, which ones you haven't, where progress, and how have you done this and that. And you're going to ask yourself, how do I do that? You did not attend the initial sessions. So you skipped all this. And then you'll have challenges. So most people actually, especially people who are giving you work remotely, do not expect a bunch of emails. Okay, they're going to tell you share this in Google Drive or Dropbox or any of these tools. So they just, whenever they want to look at it, they just go on and they are going to, look at the progress and then advise accordingly. That is just how people are working, because they're probably also working remotely. So proficiency in softwares like Microsoft Office, familiarity with collaboration tools like Slack or Teams. I'm very sure Cedric did give a task where he asked people to create accounts on Slack last night. Okay, collaboration tools like Slack or Teams, and understanding basic cybersecurity practices. Actually, we do have a whole session on cybersecurity, so that will be coming next week. Is it next week or in the next coming sessions? So you should be equipped with the basic tools of digital literacy, time management. Somebody has also mentioned that as one of the tools that are quite, it was flexibility, consistency, timeliness on delivery. That was Alex Kawoya who shared that. Thank you, Alex. So yes, time management is a really important skill, because personally, mostly I'm referred to more clients because of delivering in time. Okay, someone tells you how long are you going to, they give me work and maybe say I would like this kind of website, this number of pages, this kind of functions, and then they'll ask me, how long will you take you? And I'm usually honest. If I'm going to need a week, I'm going to probably ask for 1.5 weeks, maybe 10 days. If I'm going to need 3 days, I will ask for a week, because you never know what's going to fall short in that time. So I'm always in time, not even on time, in time. So if I asked for a week, I knew that I'm going to be done in 3 days. The 4th day, I'm going to have to go through the entire thing to make sure it's perfected. In case of shortcomings, I'm going to need an extra 2 days, and that is 6 days. So the 7th day, I'm delivering. Okay, but in most cases, I'm delivering before the 7th day, probably in the 5th day. So the clients are very happy. They refer you and say, no, so and so does work in time. Okay, where someone else is taking a month, is delivering in 2 weeks, because I commit to it. So time management is very important to you. The ability to plan and manage your time effectively to meet deadlines. And that's where they've mentioned time management is very important. Why it's important, I think it's quite logical. Prioritizing tasks, setting realistic deadlines. And that is why I've mentioned that, do not try to give them rush deadlines. Don't tell them, oh, I'll do this in 2 days for a task that actually takes 4 days, just because you want to impress them. Just because you want to impress them, so that you are going to stress and stay up till late in the night, wake up early in the morning to finish the task. Just set a realistic deadline. It's up to them. Let them accept that. Let them refuse that. That if they're giving you a very strict deadline, you assure them that yes, you're taking the deadline, but in case you don't deliver in time, sympathetic, because it's a tight deadline. Okay. So good time management skills lead to increased productivity and the ability to handle multiple tasks efficiently. Prioritizing tasks. The examples of that is prioritizing tasks. Sometimes you're handling more than one task. So I did mention in the orientation that you're good at one and a half things. You can never be extremely good in two things. It's just very few people who are gifted. Okay, they can hold two heavy tasks with both hands. Those are gifted hands. But most of us are just basically good at one and a half things. Okay, so you prioritize, set realistic deadlines, and using tools like calendars and to-do lists. Creativity and innovation. The ability to think outside the box and develop new and innovative ideas. Why it's important, employers seek creative individuals who can bring fresh perspectives and solutions to the organization. Okay, so in our line of work that we're looking at, consider a client that always comes to you and they always have to tell you exactly what to do. And whenever they are even thinking, they're like, there is that, whenever they are thinking so hard, you have no suggestion. You have to wait for them to think so hard and come up with it. You have to be so creative when they are saying this, when they have proposed something that is working for them. It's probably outdated and there is a new way of doing things. You propose that to them. Okay, you are being creative to them. Okay, you do not force it on them. You just propose it to them and let them be. If they make the final decision, if they want it, they will go ahead and take it. If they don't, they will choose something new something that they actually do want. Okay, for example, in line of mobile app development, we have been doing React Native and Kotlin for Android app development, and we've been using platforms like that. But you have to develop a different source code for every single let's say how should I say, for every single platform. Okay, you have to write code for Android, you have to write code for iOS, you have to write code for mobile applications and all that. And then Flutter came along. One source code, you write one source code for all platforms, across all these platforms, across iOS, across macOS, across Windows, across Android. One source code. So that's a new technology, and it will also look beautiful. And Flutter is by Google. So if a client comes to me, I'll propose that to them. You know what? Why don't we use this tool? Because it does this, and it's across all platforms. I'm being creative to them, and I'm informing them of a tool they probably do not know. But if they decide to stick to one that they're traditionally used to, I let them do. Okay? And I will do that to my perfection. So the examples are developing new market strategies, improving product designs, finding unique solutions to common problems. And then another skill that we're looking at is emotional intelligence. I think we're all familiar with that. Is the ability to manage your own emotions as well as recognize and influence the emotions of others. Okay, so emotional intelligence basically is managing how you feel emotionally and using that to manage how are you going to make others feel. Okay, so there are 5 main areas or characteristics or aspects of emotional intelligence, and that is self-awareness. And self-awareness basically is recognizing your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behavior. Your own emotions and how they affect you, your thought and how you behave. And the second aspect of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. That is controlling your impulsive feelings and behaviors. How do you control yourself? How do you regulate yourself? down and react. The third aspect is empathy. Basically, empathy is understanding other people's emotions and needs. The most basic way to understand empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Okay, you always have to put yourself in someone else's shoes or someone else's situation. You have to understand their emotions and needs. The other aspect, the fourth aspect of emotional intelligence is social skills. How do you work with others? Okay, the ability to be comfortable around others, the ability to communicate comfortably around others. How do you handle that? And the fifth aspect of emotional intelligence is motivation. Okay, motivation is like self-reward. Okay, self-reward for a task. So in case you need a push, but by yourself, okay, that is motivation. Sometimes the motivation is external. Actually, you're seeing from others, you're being encouraged by others, but the reward, it's a reward. It's always a reward. Sometimes you are given maybe a tip. A tip is motivating, right? So you agreed a certain amount, but then when the client pays you, they give you a little extra. That is motivational. Sometimes someone talks you into, you're about to give up on something, and someone talks you into not. That is motivation. But most times the motivation comes from you yourself, and that is it's like a self-reward. So emotional intelligence literally is just how you handling how you feel. Okay, you manage both your own emotions and you understand the emotions of people around you. That is emotional intelligence. If you always storm out, if you always act, if you always judgmental just based on how you feel, those are people that are referred to as people who are not emotionally intelligent. Okay, so you understand how you feel, and then you also understand the emotions of the people around you. So, like we've said, the 5 key elements of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Okay, once you're good at that, then once you put all these aspects together, whenever you are in a situation, whenever you are working, whenever it is in whatever way you're acting, you put those 5 aspects together, then consider yourself emotionally intelligent. So why is it important? High emotional intelligence helps in building strong interpersonal relationships and managing stress and navigating social complexities in the workspace. Resolving conflicts, examples of that are resolving conflicts amicably without escalating. Okay, so if some problem always comes up, you calm down, solve it without escalation. That is an example. Showing empathy towards colleagues and maintaining a positive work environment. So that's what emotional intelligence is. So the other skill is leadership, the ability to guide, inspire, and influence others towards achieving common goals. They say leadership is from God, but then it has hierarchies to it. Okay, they usually say leadership is from God when they are actually referring to politicians or positions. Okay, so they chose you, they voted you, they say, oh, they chose him, but leadership is from God. But in work environments, you are going to need to step up. Sometimes they ask, this and this, and there is this kind of project. Who is going to help us? Who's going to lead us? Sometimes they don't even ask. Okay, but you have to step up. Sometimes you volunteer to lead everyone. Sometimes you volunteer to handle the project. That is leadership. Why it's important? Strong leadership skills are essential for career advancement and effective team management. Examples are leading projects, mentoring junior employees, and making strategic decisions. The other skill is cautious learning and self-improvement. I'm sorry, I do slow down a bit because I am not hydrating while speaking for about an hour, so I do stutter sometimes. Cautious learning and self-improvement. How do you push yourself to learn? In everyone who intends to be to freelance in the world of tech, it's inevitable. There is new technologies every day. There is new ways to do things every day. If you're looking at web development, there is new ways to do these things almost every month. Okay, there are updates. Okay, there is version 1.0. The next month there is version 1.2. The next month, after 3 months, there is version 1.7. Are you familiar with version 1.7? Or are you stuck at 1.0? For those who have done computer science, or those ones who are familiar with the basic, who are going to school with the basic programming, we do know in our curriculum they do teach Visual Basic. Now, what Visual Basic is again, those who are familiar with programming, Visual Basic is literally C++ that has been masked. What that means is Visual Basic was last developed in 1998. Support for Visual Basic stopped in 2008. Okay, how many years ago? There is no support for it. Okay, the teams gave up on trying to support it, but the product is still out there, but it is being masked. It is not Visual Basic anymore. Our curriculums in Uganda teach Visual Basic, and that is a closed language. Okay, what people now are doing, first of all, is open source and is object-oriented languages. Okay, Python is object-oriented. Flutter is object-oriented. So you are going to have to teach yourself what is new. If you're stuck to Visual Basic, I'm sorry for you, you are so behind. But it's what is taught here. So are you going to stick to what you were taught in school as a software developer? No, you're going to have to learn. Okay, there is literally no school that is teaching Flutter in this country on their curriculum. Okay, but it is the newest technology with it's the newest. So sorry, I was reading a text that someone is sending me. I think they shared some work that they were supposed to share with Cedric. I don't know. I'll look at that later. But what that means is it is the newest. It's the easiest. It's most flexible. It solves a lot of problems, but it's not being taught anywhere. So are you going to stick to the traditional ones, even the ones that we were taught in school? Okay, JavaScript that you taught back in the day keeps evolving. Are you going to stick to that, or are you going to learn? If you're not willing to learn, someone will do your job 10 times better than you. If you're not willing to adjust your tools, someone will do your job 10 times better than you, 10 times faster. Your clients will shift. Okay, so conscious learning and self-improvement is very important. The commitment to ongoing learning and self-development. Why it's important? The job market and workplace technologies are constantly evolving. So continuous learning is essential for staying relevant and competitive. Let's say even in our work environments, the actual work environments, freelancing aside, the actual work environments, let's look at, you're at work and there is a colleague of yours in the evening after work, they say, no, I'm going to UMI, I'm doing this course, you're an accountant, he's doing postgraduate, even as simple as a postgraduate diploma. And for you, just go straight home every day. At the end of that year, they do have a diploma in the back, postgraduate. The next year, they're going on for masters. You're going straight to after work, you're going straight home. They are going to, even if they're studying online, they're adjusting their skills, they are learning. When there is an open position, both of you have been working at the same level, and then all of a sudden they open up a position. Internally, they say, you know what? Any of you can apply for this position. And then you apply with the same person who's been learning. Okay? You consider over them. No, they will not. They will not consider you over them. Okay? Because at the time they probably recruited you people, you had the same CV. Now they are far ahead of you. So continuous learning and self-improvement is very important. Taking online courses, attending workshops. Personally, as a developer, I have since I came out of school, I have gotten about maybe 70% of what I know right now and what I'm doing, of what I execute from boot camps and all these online e-learning platforms. Okay, so taking online courses, attending workshops, seeking feedback for improvement. Just like I always tell you at the end of every class, please, we do value feedback, so feel free to share what you learned, what you did not, what you expected, what you need us to change. So those are all examples of self-improvement, networking skills, the ability to build and maintain professional relationships. So you are going to need to work in a team sometimes to manage a project efficiently and in time. So you're going to need to network. Why it's important? Networking opens up opportunities for career growth, mentorship, and collaboration. Examples are attending industry events, You know, there is this BNI that happens very early in the morning at 6 a.m. That one has still defeated me to attend, but I hope God gives me grace to do be part of BNI sometime. But that is networking, attending industry events. Sometimes there are hackathons. Cedric is a co-founder at Kakebe Technologies, and there is a tech camp, Kakebe Tech Camp. That's a technology camp that is happening in January. Very big camp. If you are a tech enthusiast, if you are a programmer, you'd like to learn more, you can contact Cedric. He can give you the details of that. Those are all part of the industry events. Participating in professional groups and leveraging social media platforms like LinkedIn. That is the last skill that we are talking about today. So that is basically that's it for communication skills. We have come to the end of the most basic of our course outline, and that has been collaboration, communication skills. Thank you so much for making it. I really think mornings are much more difficult than evenings, so I don't take this for granted. I'm really, really grateful for the people who manage to spare the time in the morning, because I know mornings are hard. Yeah, I'm not a morning person either, but yeah, I am grateful that you have committed to the morning classes. It keeps me going as well. So next week, starting Monday, personally for the morning sessions, because we have way too much to cover in a very short time, very, very short time. Okay, we're probably going to cover 2 weeks stuff in like 4 days. So it's going to be fast. Sometimes I'm going to be going from 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and all of a sudden we find ourselves it's 11 a.m. Apologies, but it's a lot to do and we have to finish, and we're leaving no one behind. We have to move in a group. We have to move as a group. So 15 minutes to 9 a.m. I'll usually have the meeting open, and please endeavor to join before 9 a.m. because at exactly 9 a.m. we shall be always starting. So thank you so much for the commitment. May the good Lord be with you throughout the day. See you on Monday morning.